Hey guys, it is August the 21st, 2026, and I hope everybody's been having a wonderful day so far today. Well, as you can probably hear and see, it is a rainy day here in South Carolina. It wasn't raining all day. As a matter of fact, it just started about 2 hours ago or something like that. It was just sprinkling until I came out here and sat down at this table. As soon as I sat down, the rain picked up. And then we started getting thunder. I've already tried doing this intro, I don't know, maybe 10 times already before this. And the last take that I just did, we had a lightning strike like right over there. It lit everything up. It scared me. Like I stopped in the middle of filming and just stared over there because I'm sitting underneath of an umbrella right now with a metal pole that's going into the ground. So it worries me when there's lightning like that, because I do not want to get fried by lightning while I'm out here filming a video. So hopefully today's video, we don't get any more of that and I can just go ahead and film this and this all works out. But anyway, I hope that everybody has been having a wonderful day so far today. You know, it is Friday, and I talk about this every single Friday. You know, we're going into the weekend, guys. This is when a lot of us really drink heavy, especially on a Friday night. You know, you've worked all week long. You busted your butt at work. You've already worked 80 hours this week. Your boss had an attitude with you all week long. Your kids have been getting on your nerves. They won't clean their rooms. You know, you've had to go in there and wake them up 10 times every morning to get ready for school. And, you know, and then when they get home from school, you've worked all day long. They won't do their homework, and you've got to go in there and fuss at them about that. And you and your spouse aren't getting along, and you know, you tried cooking dinner last night and you burnt the dinner, and y'all had to go out and get food when you didn't have the money to spend anyway, or get DoorDash or something like that. You know, guys, we have all kinds of stresses that happen in our daily lives. And if you were the type of person like I was that used alcohol as a way to de-stress, it can be a little bit difficult, especially in the beginning. You know, what do I do now? What do I do now on a Friday? How do I relax? You know, what am I supposed to do with myself? And, you know, that's for you to find out. You know, we all have something different that works for us. You know, there's certain things you might be able to try. You know, there's like, you know, chamomile tea maybe could help relax you a little bit and help you at least go to sleep at night. You know, RLS is a big deal, especially in the beginning of getting sober. You know, maybe rubbing some Bengay on your legs, maybe taking a couple of Advil to help with that. Maybe CBD might work for you. There's valerian root that people use. There's a lot of things that passion flower. You can make like passion flower tea. They sell it in the grocery store. You know, do some research. Look into, you know, things that you might be able to try. I'm not recommending anything. You know, I'm not a doctor. I'm not affiliated with any doctors or healthcare professionals. I'm just a guy. And I'm just a guy that has AUD, a guy that has liver disease. And I just come on here and talk about my experiences and things that have worked for me and things that haven't worked for me. You know, you have to figure out what's going to be best for you, because like I said, we're all different. But, you know, if you're having a hard time going to sleep at night, you know, maybe, like I said, maybe give valerian root a try, or CBD, or, like I said, passion flower tea or something like that. They have those like sleepy time teas that they sell in the grocery store. There's all types of things, guys. You know, do some research, look into some things. Maybe you've already tried something. And we don't even necessarily have to have some kind of like, you know, something that we consume either. You know, maybe going out and, you know, going for a long walk on a Friday to kind of wear yourself down after work. That can be hard if you've already, you know, been working on your feet all day, you know, for the whole week long. You know, who wants to go walk 3 miles after you worked 80 hours this week and you've been on your feet in the kitchen the whole entire time? I know I wouldn't want to. You know, maybe a good movie, maybe just sitting down by yourself in a quiet room and reading a book, maybe meditating. Sitting down and writing in your journal. Guys, I can't emphasize enough how important journaling really truly is. I hear about it all the time. You know, I watch a lot of stuff about sobriety, a lot of YouTube videos, a lot of all kinds of videos about sobriety. And some of the people, a lot of the most successful people that I watch or listen to or whatever, all talk about journaling, because it gives you an opportunity to just get your feelings off your chest. You don't necessarily have to go and tell somebody. You know, you don't have to be embarrassed about your feelings or things that you're thinking about or things that are bothering you. It can just be you and yourself. You're sitting down with a notebook and a pen, and you're just getting it off your chest. You're able to sit down, excuse me, and write everything down. Not only does it give you an opportunity to get those feelings off your chest, but it gives you something to go back and look at a later date. 6 months down the road, grab that journal from week 1 of your sobriety and look at how much of a difference your life has become now versus then. It can be a huge help, guys. I just think journaling is a great way to de-stress. You know, is it going to be the same as sitting down and having a couple liquor drinks? Of course not. But is it going to give you an opportunity to get some things off your chest, write down some stuff that's bothering you this week? You know, and it also gives you an opportunity to write down all the things that have been bothering you, because a week later, you might not remember. It gives you a physical copy to go back and look at, to reference, and go, okay, this is what was bothering me last week. What can I do to fix that? What can I do this week that's going to prevent the same things that happened last week from happening again? You know, there's just all kinds of things that we can do, guys. And like I said, just going for a simple walk can help out tremendously. You know, but you have to figure it out for yourself. You know, the thing is, guys, is just going back to drinking or using, it's not what we want to do. You know, if you have gotten sober at this point, you got sober for a reason. You know, at some point, your life started falling apart. Either your health started falling apart, or your personal life started falling apart, or you started falling apart with your job, your relationships, your relationship with your spouse or your boyfriend or your girlfriend, relationship with family members maybe. Maybe you got into some legal trouble, got a DUI. You know, maybe you're having some health problems now because you're drinking. You know, maybe you're having a bunch of stomach aches and you're tired of having diarrhea every day. And maybe you're at the point like I was where you're waking up and throwing up every single morning and you're just tired of living that life. Whatever it is for you, that was the final straw that made you go, enough is enough. I'm ready to get sober. You know, back to the journaling thing. You know, if you write it down in your journal, it gives you a reference so you can go back and look at it again. It's a great reminder. It's a great tool for that. Whenever you're thinking about having that drink, grab that journal and go back to week 1 of your sobriety and look at what you were talking about. How were you feeling during that period of time? Do you want to go back to starting all over and feeling that way again? Do you want to go back to feeling like, you know, like you're worthless again, you're never going to be able to amount to anything? Because I know that's how I felt whenever I was in active addiction. That rain is really starting to pick up right now. Anyway, guys, like I said, you know, just going back to using or drinking, it's just not the option. You know, we got away from it for a reason. And just sit here for a second and think about what that reason was if you've been thinking about drinking today. And I'm going to tell you guys a quick little story, and then I'm going to get off of here. Last night, something really upset me. And I got to be honest with you guys, you know, when I think about going back to drinking again, it usually happens when I get angry. For whatever reason, anger is, you know, it's just one of those things that's always pushed me into relapse, especially back when I haven't relapsed since I got sober this time. But back in the past, every time I'd get sober, you know, I'd get sober for 3, 4, 5, maybe a week. You know, every single time that would happen, most of the time, something would get me angry, and then I would relapse after that. Anger's always been one of those things for me. It's just been a weak point for me. Like I said, it's one of those reasons that I've relapsed over and over and over again in the past. And last night, something got me really angry. And, man, I struggled last night. I mean, I really did struggle last night. I mean, it got to the point, I went downstairs, sat downstairs, turned on the television, tried to sit there and just cool off. And I don't want to get into what got me upset. And it has nothing to do with anybody here on YouTube or anything like that. So please don't think that's the case. But, you know, I just got really upset about something. And like I said, I went downstairs, sat down, tried to cool off there. It just wasn't working. I thought about it for a while. I tried a couple of other things. I just could not cool off. So I've said this many times on here. When I get angry, sometimes I have to hop in my car and go for a ride. And that's what I did last night. Got in my car and just took off and went and drove around for about half an hour. And at one point, I pulled into the gas station and just sat. I parked at the gas station and just sat there. Did I think about walking in there and getting a 6-pack of beer? I absolutely did. I've just got to be completely honest with you guys. That's what I'm here for. I pulled up to the gas station and I just sat in my car and I thought about it. But as I sat there and thought about it, one of the thoughts that went through my head is that if I walked into this gas station and bought a 6-pack of beer, nobody's going to know. No, who's going to find out about it? I had a really rough day yesterday. I had to have, a root canal done yesterday, which took hours to have done. I was really tired, and when I get really tired like that, I get angry a lot easier when I'm tired as well, which was the case yesterday. And like I said, I had been in the dental chair for hours yesterday having a root canal done. I was just really frustrated, and then by the time that, I started to get angry, it just escalated really quick, like a rocket. I just blasted off. And I'm sitting there at the gas station in my car thinking about it. Like I said, nobody's going to know about this, unless I tell them. What's the worst that's going to happen? But as I sat there and thought about it, one of the things that I thought about is that if I walk in that store and get a 6-pack of beer, I know for a fact that's not going to be it. I know for a fact that if there goes that, wow, that was bright. If I get a 6-pack of beer, it's going to turn into a half a gallon of vodka really fast, because that's just the way I work. As soon as I get that feeling again, I'm going to want to feel that way forever. I'm not going to want to let it go. I'm going to want to feel that warm blanket all day long, every single day, all week, all month, all year, from the time I wake up until the time I go to sleep. And as a matter of fact, I'm going to want to wake up in the middle of the night and feel that way again, because I don't know how to stop. I have no self-control when it comes to alcohol. And I knew that if I walked in there and grabbed a 6-pack of beer, that everything's gone. I'm going to flush it all down the toilet. Because I'm that type of person that if I have one drink, there's no stopping me, guys. There just isn't. I'd ruin everything. I'd destroy my marriage. I'd destroy the relationship I have with my children. I would destroy everything that I've worked so hard for around here, because I would lose my home. My wife would kick me out. I'd be on the streets. My parents wouldn't let me come live with them. My brother wouldn't let me come live with him. I would have nowhere to turn but the streets. I would really lose everything. I would lose my family, and I mean all of my family. My family, my extended family, it would all be gone. No one would want to talk to me anymore. No one would want to be around me anymore. Because everybody knows how I am when I'm drinking. I'm a loose cannon. I just do things. I freak out on people for no reason. I'm always wasted drunk. I'm always sloppy drunk. I'm always slurring my words. I'm always bumping into walls. My eyes are always crossed and looking crazy. I'm always looking in this direction over here when somebody's standing over here. I don't want to go back to that life, guys. And like I said, I was super angry last night. And I truly did think about going into the gas station and getting a 6-pack of beer. But I just sat there and thought about it, and thought about myself and what it would do to this community. I know that I'm not anybody like special or anything. I do come on here and talk about, addiction and sobriety and things like that all the time. But I also know that there are people that they watch a channel and it brings hope. It brings them hope knowing that, that they could do this as well, that they could get sober and that they can stay sober. And I just knew that if I went back and drank again, that I would have to be honest on here, and I'd have to tell you guys. And I just feel like it would ruin hope for a lot of people, and I just could not do that. And not to mention, more than anything else, guys, it probably would take my life in a matter of days, if not that day. You know, the doctors have told me over and over again, if you drink again, your pancreas and your liver are going to shut down. If you drink at all, the day that you drink is... And will that happen that day? I don't know. I don't think it would. I'm not a doctor, though. But I know that I would be in a hospital within a week. I mean, I just know it would happen. You know, I have cirrhosis of the liver, guys. Chronic pancreatitis. My pancreas is trashed. I have half of my pancreas left at this point right now. That's it. It's shrunk so much since all this has happened. I've got stents in my pancreas still. My spleen has enlarged because of all of this. You know, it was at one point, it was the size of a softball. I could push down and feel it in there. You know, and then on top of all that, I have diabetes. You know, what would that do to me? It would just trash my body. I'm not going back to that, guys. You know, like I said, I sat at the gas station for, I don't know, half an hour, thought about it. And then at some point, I just turned the car on and just started driving back home. I came home, and I just went and sat downstairs and eventually just fell asleep. I was having a bad day yesterday. I was super tired. I think that's one of the reasons that I got like that as well, because I was exhausted. My mouth was bothering me. It was super sore from all the work they had done. I was just irritated. It had been a long day. I was very tired. I get really cranky when I get tired, and I got really angry too, and that just set me off. And you know, another thing too, when I get tired, I get angry a lot faster. I'm like a little toddler sometimes. Just being honest with you guys. When I get super sleepy, I get super cranky and really quick too. And that's what happened last night. And I sat there, thought about it, and I just came home because I knew what it would do. I actually sat there and thought about what would happen if I go in there and get that six-pack. What are going to be the consequences of my actions? And I really sat there and thought about the consequences, and I don't want to deal with that. So if you're thinking about having a drink tonight, you know, grab yourself your notebook. Maybe take your phone out and download the Notepad app if you don't have it on your phone. I know that everybody's got a smartphone basically at this point. You know, download the Notepad app and just go in there and start writing down all the things. What would happen if you were to drink? If you're thinking about drinking tonight, like I said, I think a journal is the best way to do it. Just a piece of paper maybe, or a notebook or something, because having a physical copy of it that you can just grab off the shelf whenever you need to and look at it, or maybe it's more convenient for you to have it in your phone. But like I said, sit down. If you're really thinking about drinking right now, sit down and start writing down all the consequences of your actions. What's going to happen? How's it going to affect other people in your life? How's it going to affect your life? And write it all down, all of it. And then sit there and contemplate while you look at that list, because I guarantee you that list is going to be very, very long. If you're writing it down on pieces of paper, you're probably going to have 5, 6 sheets of paper of the consequences for your actions. And really think about, is that worth it? Is it worth all of that just to feel that feeling for an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours? Because nothing lasts forever, guys. That buzz doesn't last forever. That drunk doesn't last forever. That high does not last forever. It lasts for a short period of time, and then there are consequences to pay afterwards. It truly isn't worth it, guys. The investment is not worth the payout, ever. Think about it like that. Think about it like stock, you know. Would you invest $20,000 in stock when you know that you're only going to get $10,000 back or nothing back? You know it's guaranteed that if you put 20 grand in, that you're only going to walk away with 1,000. Would you do it? So why would you drink today? Because it's the same exact thing. Think about that analogy next time that you're thinking about drinking or using. You know, it's just like investing in stock, where you know for a fact that you're going to invest 20 grand, you're not going to walk away with anything, or maybe $1,500. Would you do it? Would you invest your money? Absolutely not. So why would you drink today? Because it's the same exact thing that's going to happen. You're going to invest and walk away with nothing. Let's stay sober today, guys. It truly isn't worth it. And I know Trust me, I know. I know what you're looking for. I know, that feeling that you're looking to feel. I do. You just want to feel that, But it's not worth it, guys. It really, truly isn't. The toll that we have to pay after we do that just isn't worth it. Go find something else. Go do something else. Just don't drink or use tonight. All we have to do is make it through one more day. And I will guarantee you this, that if you stay sober tonight, that you're not going to wake up in the morning regretting the fact that you didn't drink. You can drink anytime. If you tell yourself this, I always talk about this as well, that if you really want to drink tonight, just tell yourself that if you make it through the night sober tonight and you wake up tomorrow morning and you still want to drink, that you can go to the store first thing in the morning and go buy a bottle. But I can guarantee you that you're going to wake up in the morning and you're going to go, I am so glad that I didn't drink last night. You're going to pat yourself on the back and you're not going to go to the store and get a bottle. Why would you? After you just spent the whole night, the night before, staying sober, maybe you didn't sleep all that great, but at least you woke up tomorrow morning feeling good in the morning, and you've got the whole weekend ahead of you. You're going to be able to get stuff done. You're going to be able to spend time with your family. You're actually going to be there for them. You're actually going to be part of the conversation. You're actually going to be able to spend time and play with your kids this weekend. You're actually going to be there for your spouse this weekend. You're not going to wake up on Sunday morning with your spouse or your boyfriend or your girlfriend or whoever angry at you, not wanting to talk to you, and now you're angry at yourself because you gave in and drank again. One more day, guys. That's all we have to do. And by the time that you see this video, the day is almost over. It's going to be 9 o'clock, 9:30 before today's video gets up. And at that point, turn on Netflix, turn on YouTube, turn on Apple TV, whatever. Watch a movie, watch a television show, go to sleep, and wake up in the morning. And like I said, pat yourself on the back. You made it through another day of sobriety. Guys, this isn't easy. I know. It's tough sometimes. But it can be done. And it is truly worth staying sober. I believe in each and every single one of you. I know that you can do it. One more day. Until tomorrow, guys, I will see you all then. I hope y'all have a wonderful rest of your day. As a matter of fact, I will not be here tomorrow. I'm going to take tomorrow off. I've got something going on. I completely forgot about that. I was going to talk about in the beginning of today's video. I'm going to be skipping tomorrow's video, guys. I'm sorry. I know I've missed a couple of videos here recently, but I've got something going on this weekend. I will not be here tomorrow, but I will be back on Sunday. So, guys, please, let's stay sober today. It's not worth going back to that. And if you really need a video to watch tomorrow, I've got over 800 videos that you can go back and watch. Just go through there, scroll, and hit the, just scroll through and just hit something. Just pick something on, on a whim and watch it if you really need something. There's a lot of great titles in there from, the past couple of years I've been doing this. But I will be back on Sunday. Like I said, guys, just stay sober one more day. Let's stay sober tomorrow as well. I'll see you guys all back on Sunday, and let's talk about what we did this weekend. With that said, guys, I will see you all on Sunday. I hope y'all have a sober Friday and Saturday, and I hope it's a wonderful one at that as well. See you guys on Sunday. I love you all so much. Be safe, stay sober, and I'll see you guys on Sunday.